Jokowi criticized a number of SOE with unhealthy financial conditions. The government will take firm steps to clean the digital space of illegal online lending. Hello, good evening viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you information from business, economic and capital market sector. And as the pandemic is still ongoing, we'll provide you the latest COVID-19 information. Please stay safe by taking some simple precautions, such as physical distancing, wearing a mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands and having less mobility. And with me, Fajar Wayong, this is Market Headlines. Let's open up market headline. President Joko Widodo criticized a number of state-owned enterprises with unhealthy financial conditions. This is because many times the state-owned enterprises have received injections through state capital participation. Jokowi said that the provision of protection through state capital participation or injection reduces the value built by SOEs. One of them is the value of competition, which makes the company not dare to compete, to take risks, and the value of provisionalism is not implemented. He also emphasized that the Minister of SOEs, Erick Thohir, should not provide funding for companies with dying financial conditions. Jokowi threatened to dissolve an unhealthy company because the investment capital given to the company made the vision forgotten.
Sehingga kalau yang lalu-lalu BUMN yang banyak terlalu keseringan kita proteksi. Sakit tambahi PMN, sakit suntik PMN. Maaf, terlalu enak sekali. Dan akhirnya itu yang mengurangi nilai-nilai yang tadi saya sampaikan. Berkompetisi nggak berani, bersaing nggak berani, mengambil risiko nggak berani. Ya bagaimana profesionalisme kalau itu tidak dijalankan? Jadi tidak ada yang namanya proteksi-proteksi lagi, itu udah lupakan Pak Menteri yang namanya proteksi-proteksi itu. Nah, kalau Pak Menteri sampaikan kepada saya, ya, Pak, ini ada perusahaan seperti ini, kondisinya BUMN. Kalau saya langsung tutup aja. Nggak ada.
And meanwhile, Erick Thohir said that serving as Minister of State-Owned Enterprises is not an easy thing. However, he ensured that he continued to carry out transformations in the Ministry of SOEs, including creating a culture of healthy competition between SOEs. Erick Thohir shared his experience during his 2 years serving as Minister of State-Owned Enterprises. To the President, he admitted that his task was difficult. However, Erick continued he did not give up and even immediately moved by launching the 5 main priorities for the transformation of SOEs, including the focus on restructuring from 108 SOEs to only 41, and from 27 clusters to 12 clusters. Therefore, the Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, Erick Thohir, gave an indication to the SOE directors not to relax in carrying out their duties. If it is not in accordance with the desired aspect, the worst risk such as dismissal must be accepted.
Restrukturisasi model bisnis supaya kita fokus ke core-nya tapi bisa terus menjadi excellence dan bersaing. Kita ingin menciptakan persaingan kepada para direksi. Karena itu ada penilaiannya Bapak yang kita lakukan. Satu, kinerja keuangan, dampak sosial, dan juga future growth impact. Jadi ada nggak potensi pengembangan perusahaan?
Previously, President Joko Widodo criticized and asked Erick Thohir to close state-owned companies that were categorized as unhealthy. Jokowi mentioned the inclusion or injection of the state capital in a number of SOEs with unhealthy financial conditions. IDX Channel reports. Indonesia's trade balance registered a surplus of $4.37 billion in September 2021. BPS revealed that the countries that contributed to the largest surplus were the United States, India, and the Philippines.
Indonesia's trade balance until September 2021 registered a surplus of $4.37 billion, with exports totaling $20.6 billion and imports at $16.23 billion, according to Statistik Indonesia or BPS. Hence, Indonesia's trade balance during the January-September 2021 period recorded a $25.07 billion surplus, much higher than the previous year.
Neraca perdagangan Indonesia ini ya selama 17 bulan secara beruntun itu membukukan surplus ya. Jadi surplus 17 bulan secara beruntun ya. Kemudian kalau kita lihat komoditi non migas penyumbang surplus terbesar adalah bahan bakar mineral itu HS27, kemudian lemak dan minyak hewan atau nabati HS15 serta besi dan baja untuk HS72 ya. Sedangkan kalau kita lihat negara yang memberikan andil terhadap surplus terbesar itu berasal dari Amerika Serikat, India dan Filipina.
The countries that contributed to the largest surplus were the United States $1.5 billion, India $718.6 billion, and the Philippines $713.9 billion. However, Indonesia's trade also experienced a deficit with several countries, the largest being with Australia, $529.7 million. The deficit with Australia was attributed to the imports of mineral fuels and metal ore, silver, and ash. IDX Channel reports.
And we're moving on to global update. China's central bank saying risks from Evergrande crisis to the financial system are controllable and unlikely to spread. Meanwhile, Melbourne, which has spent more time under COVID-19 lockdowns than any other city in the world, is set to lift its stay-at-home orders this week. And more stories on today's International Minute.
China's central bank broke its silence on debt crisis and China Evergrande Group saying risks to the financial system stemming from the developers' struggles are controllable and unlikely to spread. Authorities and local governments are resolving the situation based on market-oriented and rule-of-law principles, People's Bank of China official Zhu Lan said at a news briefing on Friday. At a farewell visit, outgoing German Chancellor Angela Merkel said her country will continue to maintain a working relationship with Turkey, stress cooperation on migration and other issues, and defended Berlin's diplomatic efforts at upholding human rights. Erdogan said Turkey would always remember the good faith and the contribution Merkel made towards maintaining ties with Turkey. The Australian city of Melbourne, which has spent more time under COVID-19 lockdowns than any other cities in the world, is set to lift its stay-at-home orders this week. Daniel Andrews, the Premier of Victoria State, of which Melbourne is the capital, announced the easing of curbs on Sunday. The move comes with officials projecting that the state's double vaccination rate will reach 70% this week. By the time the curbs are lifted, the city of 5 million people will have been under 6 lockdowns, totaling 262 days since March 2020. The United States will reopen its land and air borders on November 8 to foreign visitors fully vaccinated against COVID-19, ending a more than 18 months ban on travel for much of the globe that separated families, halted tourism, and strained diplomatic ties. The decisions to ease restrictions was guided by public health, stringent and consistent, said White House Assistant Press Secretary Kevin Bunas in a tweet. He said the announcement and date applies to both international air travel and land travel.
Market headlines will be right back. Stay tuned with us.
Awalnya nggak langsung yakin, tapi setelah ikut 2 kali acara edukasi Bursa Efek, akhirnya tertarik juga.
Karena mudah, saya ajarkan ibu-ibu lain, sampai anak saya juga ikutan.
Selesai dagang, saya bawa 100.000 untuk nabung saham. Hasilnya jelas sekali.
Yuk kita nabung saham sekarang.
Awali hari Anda dengan beragam informasi bisnis terkini yang kami kemas dalam berita teraktual dan berkualitas. Power Breakfast, informasi terkini seputar ekonomi, bisnis, pasar modal, dan industri kreatif yang dikemas secara ringan. New Screen menyajikan informasi ekonomi, bisnis, dan keuangan. Market Headline menayangkan berita ekonomi dan bisnis dalam bahasa Inggris. Saksikan program-program berita ekonomi dan bisnis terkini langsung dari sumbernya, live hanya di IDX Channel. Your Trustworthy Economic, Business, and Capital Market Channel.
Saya lihat dari sektor UMKM nampaknya sudah mulai terasa itu, Pak.
Ya, kalau kita lihat dari indikator kredit ya untuk UMKM, ini memang sudah menunjukkan bahwa ekonomi UMKM mulai bertumbuh.
Satgas COVID-19 tetap mengingatkan agar masyarakat tetap disiplin dalam menegakkan protokol kesehatan.
Pemerintah akan melakukan upaya terbaik untuk memvaksinasi sebanyak mungkin orang dan secepat mungkin.
Kementerian Perdagangan optimistis target pemerintah untuk membuat 30 juta UMKM go digital bisa tercapai di akhir tahun 2023. Wisata Bali dan Labuan Bajo hingga saat ini masih menjadi favorit.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. Minister of Communications and Information Technology, Johnny Plate, stressed that the government will take firm and uncompromising steps to clean the digital space of illegal online lending practices. He said that more than 68 million community members took part in these financial technology activities. Even the turnover of funds or turnover from loans had also reached 260 trillion rupiah from 2018 to October 15, 2021. The Ministry of Communications and Informatics has closed 4,874 borrowing accounts in 2021 alone. 1,856 loans have been closed, spread across websites, Google Play Store, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as in file sharing.
Telah ada lebih dari 68 juta rakyat yang mengambil bagian atau akun di dalam aktivitas kegiatan financial teknologi kita. Lebih dari 260 triliun ya omset atau perputaran dana yang ada di dalamnya. OJK akan melakukan moratorium ya untuk penerbitan izin fintech atas pinjaman online legal yang baru. Dan karenanya Kominfo juga akan melakukan moratorium penerbitan penyelenggara sistem online ya untuk pinjaman penyelenggara sistem elektronik untuk pinjaman online yang baru. Meningkatkan 107 pinjol ilegal yang saat ini telah terdaftar resmi dan beroperasi di bawah tata kelola OJK. Kami akan mengambil langkah-langkah tegas dan tanpa kompromi ya, untuk membersihkan ruang digital dari praktek-praktek pinjaman online ilegal atau pinjaman online tidak terdaftar. Ya.
The Ministry of Social Affairs ensures that social assistance program will continue in 2022. At least the disbursement of social assistance in 2022 is planned to reach a nominal value of 74.08 trillion rupiah. The Ministry of Social Assistance Program will continue in 2022. At least the disbursement of social assistance in 2022 is planned to reach a nominal value of 74.08 trillion rupiah. This figure is equivalent to 94.67% of the total budget of the Ministry of Social Affairs in 2022 of 78.25 trillion rupiah. Minister of Social Affairs Tri Risma Hari ini stated that her party will continue to carry out social protection tax through the Ministry of Social Assistance Program. The woman, who is familiarly called Risma, ensured that the government would not stop aid to the poor affected by the pandemic. The Social Assistance Program managed by the Ministry of Social Affairs consists of regular social assistance and special social assistance. Regular social assistance is designed to support government policies in accelerating poverty alleviation. The regular social assistance in question is the Family Hope Program and non-cash food assistance or basic food cards. The special social assistance has different characteristics. The existing special social assistance managed by the Ministry of Social Affairs is cash social assistance. IDX Channel reports. The government plans to provide state capital participation to the Jakarta-Bandung Fast Train project worth 4.3 trillion rupiah. This is to fulfill Jakarta-Bandung Fast Train project base equity capital. It is noted that the base equity capital that must be paid by the SOE consortium is Kereta Api Indonesia worth 440 billion rupiah, Wijaya Karya 240 billion, Jasa Marga 540 billion, and Perkebunan Nusantara 8 worth 3.1 trillion rupiah. Deputy Minister of State-Owned Enterprises Kartika Wirjoatmojo said the initial capital deposit of the Jakarta-Bandung Fast Train of 4.3 trillion rupiah. The funds will flow in the form of state capital participation to Kereta Api Indonesia, which is now the head of a consortium of SOEs in the Fast Train project, replacing Wijaya Karya. And for information, China has succeeded in cooperating with Indonesia in this Fast Train project by offering a cheaper investment value of $5.5 billion with an investment scheme of 40% Chinese ownership and 60% local ownership, which comes from a consortium of SOEs. Furthermore, Kartika said that China asked Indonesia to immediately deposit the initial capital for the Fast Train project this year, because if not, then this cooperation process is in danger of being cancelled. PLN recorded that electricity consumption during January to September 2021 reached 187.78 terawatts per hour. This realization recorded a growth of 4.42% compared to the same period in the previous year.
PLN recorded that electricity consumption during January-September 2021 reached 187.78 terawatts per hour. This realization recorded a growth of 4.42% compared to the same period in the previous year, which was 181.63 terawatt per hour. PLN's Director of Commerce and Customer Management Bob Saris said, the growth in electricity consumption indicated that the economic recovery was underway. The growth of electricity consumption in the industrial sector reached 10.63 or 58.04 terawatt per hour with a market share of 30.91% of the total electricity consumption. Meanwhile, household electricity consumption reached 85.43 terawatt per hour with a market share of 46% of the total electricity consumption. Bob further detailed the growth of electricity consumption in the textile industry was recorded as the highest at 15%, followed by iron and steel 10%, cement and chemicals 8%, food and beverages and plastic at 7%. The increase in PLN's electricity consumption is reflected in the peak electricity load in the third quarter of 2021. PLN recorded that the peak electricity load touched more than 27,000 megawatts. In the same period the previous year, the peak electricity load was only 26,000 megawatts. IDX Channel reports.
And stay with us because market headlines will be back with information from the capital market.
Jika Anda adalah investor saham, Anda mendapat keuntungan di antaranya capital gain, yaitu keuntungan dari selisih harga beli dan harga jual saham. Dividen, yaitu pembagian laba kepada pemegang saham. Keuntungan lainnya, investor bisa memperoleh pendapatan tambahan dengan meminjamkan sahamnya melalui layanan pinjam meminjam efek atau PME. Apa itu PME? PME merupakan pinjaman efek sementara berupa saham dari investor untuk keperluan penyelesaian transaksi bursa. Apa saja manfaat yang didapatkan? Investor memperoleh keuntungan. Investor tetap dapat menerima dana sebagai pengganti dividen jika ada pembagian dividen saat sahamnya sedang dipinjamkan. Pendapatan yang diterima investor dari layanan PME dapat digunakan untuk membayar biaya penyimpanan saham. Saat nilai saham turun, investor tetap dapat memperoleh pendapatan hingga mengurangi potensi kerugian. Dan yang terpenting, KPEI menjamin pengembalian saham yang dipinjamkan sesuai waktu yang telah ditentukan. Menarik bukan? Prosesnya sangat sederhana. Investor cukup menghubungi perusahaan sekuritas dan menandatangani formulir perjanjian PME. Selanjutnya, jika terdapat kebutuhan penyelesaian transaksi bursa oleh peminjam, saham yang akan dipinjamkan diserahkan kepada KPEI melalui perusahaan sekuritas. Setelah proses PME selesai, maka KPEI akan mengembalikan saham yang telah dipinjamkan dan memberikan pendapatan kepada investor melalui perusahaan sekuritas. Segera hubungi perusahaan sekuritas Anda, Customer Care KPEI, atau kunjungi website kami untuk mengetahui layanan PME. PME, pinjamkan sahamnya, dapatkan manfaatnya.
Welcome back. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,635.46. And then approaching the closing time on the first session, the index was on the level of 6,666.83. Then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,658.76. And in short, Jakarta Composite Index, or JCI, went up 0.38%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got transportation and logistics as the leader of the strengthening trend. Went up 1.8%. Industry went up 1.45%. Non-cyclical went down 0.14%. And energy went down 0.12%. And we're moving on to top gainers and top losers. Here are the key highlights from today's trading session. Bank Rakyat Indonesia went up 2.08% to the level of 4,410 rupiah. Bank Negara Indonesia went up 4.81% to the level of 7,075 rupiah per share. Aneka Tambang went up 1.62% to the level of 2,510 rupiah per share. And BRIS went up 5.63% to the level of 2,250 rupiah per share. And meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got Bank Sentral Asia, or BPCA, went down 1.63% to the level of 7,625 rupiah. Astra International went down 0.4% to the level of 6,225 rupiah. Tower went down 1.66% to the level of 1,185, and Unilever Indonesia went down 2.39% to the level of 5,100 rupiah per share. And let's see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,080, rupiah was also showing weakening trend towards US dollar and was closed at the level of 14,071. In summary, rupiah went down 0.47%. Supported by the increasing number of visits to malls after the easing of the implementation of restrictions, Metropolitan Land is optimistic that it can bring in recurring income of 400 billion rupiah.
By the increasing number of visits to mall after the easing of the implementations of restrictions or PPKM, Metropolitan Land is optimistic that it can bring in recurring income. According to the director of Metropolitan Land, Olivia Surojo, the mall's visit rate since it was reopened has grown by 15 to 20%. The company is also optimistic that the mall and hotel segments can bring in recurring income of around 400 billion rupiah until the end of 2021. He also added that although digital trade continues to grow, the online shopping experience and visiting malls are different things. People still need recreations and interactions with others, which can be realized at mall as a meeting point. For additional information, currently MTLA has several shopping centers including Metropolitan Mall Bekasi, Grand Metropolitan, Metropolitan Mall Cilengsi, and Plaza Metropolitan in Tambun. Going forward, the business development of the Metropolitan Land Shopping Center will be carried out by building a mall with an outdoor lifestyle concept, which has an open area for a community activities equipped with standalone F&B shops. IDX Channel reports.
Surya Citra Media plans to buy back shares with a maximum value of 200 billion rupiah. The company's management stated that the share buyback aims to increase shareholder value. Surya Citra Media plans to buy back shares with a maximum value of 200 billion rupiah. Based on the prospectus submitted by the company's management, the share buyback aims to increase shareholder value with a buyback allocation of a maximum of 20% of the paid-up capital, with a provision of a free float of at least 7.5% of the paid-up capital. Surya Citra management will use internal cash for the buyback, which will be carried out in stages from October 13 to November 12, 2021. The impact of the buyback implementation is the loss of interest income on the funds used to buy back the company shares. However, the company's directors believe that the implementation of the share buyback will not affect the financing of the company's business activities, considering that the company has sufficient and adequate working capital and cash flow to carry out the buyback, including financing the company's business activities. IDX Channel reports. And step aside from market condition as the efforts in achieving herd immunity is still going on. Here is an update data about COVID-19 vaccinations in Indonesia. And viewers, the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. And to prevent the spread of COVID-19, always wear mask and get vaccinated immediately. Masks have been shown to reduce the risk of transmission by 80%, while vaccines minimize the risk of death by 73%. So let's wear masks and get vaccinated, because masks and vaccines keep us healthy and happy. And I'm Fajar Wayong. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
awal mulanya tuh membangun Nona Rara Batik ini gimana sih ceritanya? Apa mungkin Kak Pipit itu emang suka sama batik ya?
Saya juga tumbuh dari keluarga, memang keluarga yang dekat dengan batik. Jadi dulu masa